This content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. All right, Gym Bros. Big Paul here. What's up, everybody? I got the contest prep update. People seem to like last week when I did it live, so we're going to try this again, see how it goes. I'll answer some questions as we go along. Sorry I was a little bit late. I was preparing my slides, finishing them up like I normally do with everything else, procrastinating right up to the last minute. But we'll go through everything here that I've got going on with prep right now. What's up? I'm trying Crohn's lifter, and that's right. And let's see. Crohn's lifter says, "How you feeling?" I feel great right now. This is really, honestly, this is the early part of prep. You don't really start feeling shitty until the end. But right now, everything's great. I mean, my food's still high. I'm still, not blasting orals and doing any of that kind of stuff that make you feel like dog shit like you do towards the end. So right now, I feel great. Everything's moving along great. I keep getting leaner. I had this, when I first started prep, my weight bounced up. It went up to 265-ish. I was like 255 fasted when I started off the prep. And then now I'm back down to 255. So I don't know. It's like I had this bounce and then now it's leveled back up, but I'm leaner. And it's just because I was on cruise. I was just cruising on basically TRT in the off season, despite what some people will say the king of trolls thinks I was taking 8 grams of gear in the off season, but I was TRT plus bodybuilder TRT. You guys know what I mean by that. It's if a little extra happens to get into the syringe, so be it. But I wasn't really doing that much in the off season, and I was traveling a bunch and stuff. So like, it's not like I'm taking shit with me when I go. So like, it was very inconsistent with doing stuff. So like, there might be a week and a half, 2 weeks where I wasn't taking anything at all, or following a structured diet. So I don't know. I think that was the initial bounce, and now it's kind of leveled back out. But I feel great right now. Things feel really, really good. Hey Tina, I will see you at Masters Nationals. Tina is also prepping. But I think the big thing was I just didn't let myself get fat this off season. It's really weird. I don't like eating. I just don't have much of an appetite anymore. It'd be fine with me if I ate like once or twice a day. I just really don't want to eat. So I can get by with it. But right now, this week's 255. I've never had this happen before where my weight does not change or even go up, and I'm getting leaner. So I will take the blessings while I can. I know at some point that's going to change. But the reality will hit back in. For those of you that are concerned, my height is 6'1" 3/4. That's what I measure in out when I was checked to see if I could do classic. Way too big for classic. My daytime weight right now is like 262, 263. So I'd have to lose about 30 pounds to get down to classic or whatever it is. Maybe it's not quite that much, but that ain't happening. I'm a bodybuilder. Fasted glucose and blood pressure are all been in line. I check my fasted glucose daily, and it's something I would recommend that people do if they're serious about their bodybuilding, to monitor insulin sensitivity. I see a lot of guys that would get deep in an off season and their fasted glucose will start to rise, and that's when we know that we need to pull things back. You've hit the limit. When your fasted glucose starts getting above 100, you're in pre-diabetic levels, and chances are that you're probably just going to get fat at that point. Now, there's a phenomenon that happens as you get depleted and get further in prep. I'll see guys where their fasted glucose will be high at the end of prep. It's this thing called the dawn effect, where you're, and it seems to only happen. It seems to happen in diabetics, but it happens in bodybuilders. It's really odd. It happens. It's supposedly it's not supposed to happen to people that are non-diabetics, but it does happen in bodybuilders. I see when they get very depleted towards the end of prep. But what they speculate happens is that your liver, and you can see it on a continuous glucose monitor. If you get one, your liver will dump glycogen in the middle of the night. What happens is you get hypoglycemic in the middle of the night, and so you don't die. Your liver will dump some glycogen to keep you from going hypo, or also to help with waking in the morning. And you'll see this effect where your fasted glucose in the morning will be a little bit high. It's not like crazy high, like 115, 120, something like that. But don't freak out if that happens when you're deep in a diet. I get guys that freak out all the time when that happens. It's very, very common. I see it all the time. Sleep has been pretty decent as it gets for me. Colin, my training partner, did you get the maple brown sugar checks, or did you like them? Yes, I did like them. You know me, man. I'm a big kid. I like new flavors of cereals. But I went back to the Golden Grams for this week's high day, which is tomorrow. Captain Flynn asked, am I doing cheat meals on my high days? Yes, I am doing cheat meals on my high days. I didn't in the past, and I think it actually made my physique worse. I flattened out and my metabolism just got out of control. So I don't go crazy on the cheat meal. Like last week, I had a burger and fries, and then had half a piece of key lime pie. It was not just a half a piece, it was nothing crazy. So yeah, I mean that's what I did last week for my DK. Good day, mate. Because checking in from Australia. Do I use a CPAP? Yeah, I have one. That's all I can claim. I own one. I don't know. I try using it, and then I'll make it a couple hours through the night, and then I just can't fucking use it. I have these. I'll wake up like and have panic attacks and feel like I'm suffocating. And I've messed around with the pressure settings. I've done everything. I have no idea why that happens to me. And I've tried. I don't. Although my doctor said if I can make it through a few hours of night with it, 3 or 4 hours, it's better than nothing. So I do wear it on occasion. A lot of times I'll find that during prep, as I get leaner, my sleep apnea actually goes away. It's in the off season when I get heavy that I have the sleep apnea. So, but yeah, the struggle is real. I really have tried every type of face mask. I've tried everything. Oh man, Tina, that sucks. Sadly, your post-training cereal has been cut. That's the stinky part for women. You don't have a lot of areas where you can cut calories. Here I am over here dieting on 3,500 calories and I'm losing weight. So that's the benefit of being 260 pounds lean. Uh, so, Captain Flynn asked, a fast-paced walk sufficient enough for prep cardio independent? That's all I do. I just walk the fat off, and I don't even do that much cardio. I'm only doing 20 minutes 4 times a week right now. I used to do the stepper, but my knees are all beat up. My coach will probably disagree with me on this, but I feel like the step mill just melts legs. I see guys, their legs seem to shrivel up. Tina's still on 2,100 calories. That's quite a bit for your size. So your metabolism's in a great spot. Should be a pretty easy prep then. From when I saw your pictures, Tina, you don't really have much to lose anyway. It should be an easy prep then. Are you using Clean? I'll go into it in a bit, but no, I am not using Clean right now. I will add it in at some point. So here's my thing with the fat burners. And this is why I don't have a predetermined plan when I go into prep. I know all the tools that are going to be in my toolbox for prep, but it's just a matter of when I'll deploy them and how much I will deploy. As long as I'm making progress without having to add more pharmacology to the mix, I just roll with it. So there's no reason to add clean in unnecessarily if I'm getting leaner without it. So I'll save it for when I need to get over the hump. And you'll see in my pictures here in just a second. I'm 10 weeks out and my glutes are already starting to come in. Although my glutes, I tend to lose fat on my glutes before I do on my back. My back still has a fair amount of fat on it. Somebody up here earlier, I don't remember who it was, asked if I was going to use Tren. I gave a serious thought to not. Yeah, here it is. It was Villainaire. Villainaire. Any Tren on this prep? None yet. I told myself that I probably wasn't going to use it this prep. I was going to try it, but I know that's not realistic. I it's just, you'll see it when I kick it in. Tren, my body just mutates in a couple weeks on Tren. There's another one that people aren't going to believe, but I do not run much Tren at all. Last year I ran, of course you can't be 100% exact with the dosing, but I was running something like 20 to 30 milligrams a day. It's like, how accurate can you get with it? There's only so accurate you can get with it, but I was in that neighborhood. It wasn't a lot. And the king of trolls will say that I'm lying to you, that I'm taking 700 or 1,000 milligrams of Tren per day in 200 milligrams of whatever orals this far out. If I did that, I would not sleep, and I would be dead at my age. And I'm already running a spicy cycle to begin with. I don't know what people expect that I'm going to do. So it's really, really. Have you tried the auto PAP version that shuts off when you breathe out? Not the continuous PAP. That's what I have, actually. That's the one I have. I think it's just the mask, the feeling of having the mask on my face. I have a little bit of anxiety and I get panicky sometimes. And during prep, it gets worse. So, all right, let's take a look at my picks. All right, I got the posing trunks out this week to see what was going on. A little bit of fat at the bottom, although I think that's just scar tissue from my surgery. I always get lean up front first, and then I lean out from the back later. I get some separation in my legs and whatnot. It's just a little watery today. Nothing. I don't know. I'd probably take a diuretic and be better conditioned than most super heavyweights are at a local show right now. So side picks here. You can see I'm already starting to get lines in my glutes. You can see the scar from my surgeries. I've had multiple surgeries on my abdomen. And yes, I go back, like I feel like I explain this every time. I have multiple people that ask me about my goddamn nipples. Everybody is obsessed with my nipples. I have one nipple that's inverted. I was born that way. The doctor tried to reconstruct it when I had surgery done a few years ago, and it was fine for a while, and then it went back in. And then on the right nipple, I have a tiny piece of gyno that makes it poked out. So the imbalance between the two makes it look really fucking weird. And I'm going to get this one fixed this fall. It's not quite the size of a marble, but there's a small piece, somewhere between the size of it's like the size of a llama bean, I would say. There's a piece of gyno that sits right behind that nipple, even though I have had anybody making fun of the nipples yet? No, I'm just explaining. I preemptively explaining because inevitably somebody will say something about my nipples. So I'm explaining why my nipples are fucked up. So that's the deal with the nipples. That's the truth. I am going to make a nipple video. That should be a fun one, so I can explain to me. I'm old. I'm beat up. I'm scarred up. My skin's not perfect. I've had, I don't know how many surgeries I've had done. 12, 15 surgeries over the years. I'm beat the living crap out of my body over the years, and this is as good as it gets. I don't know many 50-year-olds that look like me. But anyway, that's the purple is the color of royalty. I don't know. I like purple. Purple is my color. I may go with a different color because I think I need to get bigger trunks. These are a little snug on me, although they always get loose towards the end. And chest is looking best that is ever. I think I've been working with a posing coach And I have a friend that's a judge, and he's been helping me with posing tips. And I think a lot of my deficiencies that I thought I had were just crap posing. It's amazing how much your physique can change by just improving your posing. Like my legs, everybody said my quad sweep improved. The only thing I just changed the angle of my feet this week at the advice of a posing coach, and boom, my quad sweep looks better. My legs look bigger. So it's amazing. It's amazing how that works out. So somebody asked, "Are you still doing the Q&A? Have you done a bit?" Yeah, I did. I did the Q&A yesterday. It was up last or 2 days ago. Uh, have you thought about nipple pasties? Maybe that's what I should do because they are indecent. A nipple music video. We should make a nipple music video about Paul's nipples. Oh man, uh, the nipple jokes all day long. So the best thing to do when people make fun of you is just join the party. Anyway, like I said, you can see the glute lines coming in here. My glutes are already. It's so fucking weird how my glutes start getting separation in my glutes, and you can see they're a little jacked up. I actually tore on the left side. I tore my piriformis many years ago, and it's never been perfect again. So you can see the imbalance there, but it's a little rough. You can see where I still have fat on my lower back. I'm my back development, like the judges told me last year I needed to bring up my back. I worked hard on bringing up my back, and then working with the posing coach. I don't think it's a back development issue. I think it's my posing sucks. My back is actually my strongest body part, which is the strangest thing. And like I was working on it. I just came from doing posing practice straight to doing this video, and I was getting things to pop more. It's just I am terrible at posing, and I'm getting better at it. I think by the time of the show it'll be better. But yeah, it definitely. But it was specifically the rear double bicep was the pose. But yeah, the glutes. I worked on bringing up the glutes this off season. That was another thing. The judges told me I needed more glutes, more hamstring, and more back development. So it was just basically everything from behind. I tried to bring everything up. It's amazing what happens when you actually put glute exercises into your routine. I never directly trained my glutes until this past year. Um, uh, here's the front lat spread. So you can see in my lats, I have width. I don't know. It's something to do with the thickness or the angle of which I'm doing. Do you have any pictures besides the one you're showing progression? What do you mean showing progression? Like over the years? I have tons of stuff up on Instagram. I had that crazy 5-year thing where I grew. But I got tons of stuff up on Instagram if you want to see progress pics. Let me see if I can pull. Hang on, let me pull this one up. Let me share. Hang on. Let me share the screen. Hang on. And I'll show you this. This is I've already seen this one, but here we go. This was, let me take myself out of this. Let me add this back. Here you go. This was from 2021 to 2024. So you can see the growth that I had. I was 185 pounds on stage in 2024. So yeah, it was pretty bad. All right, let's go back to the progress pics. What Joshua Perry asked me, what do I do for glutes now? I don't know what you would call this machine, but it's like a kickback machine. It's a Atlantis machine where you load it up with plates, and it's like a single leg glute kick I also do, God damn it, I can't remember the name of the one. There's another booty blaster machine I do too. I tried doing hip thrust, but my hips were hurting when I was doing them, so I couldn't really do those. So it's those two machines. I have a specific day. So I do my quads on one day, and then I have a day that is glutes, adductors, and hamstring focused. So yeah, that's sort of the sort of how I handle it. Let's see here. Bruce said, "Hey Paul, I was watching a video of you 2 years ago. You said you didn't think running 1 gram of test was worth it. What changed? I'm trying to get a pro card. I got the gas pedal mashed down. I blame Chase Irons. He convinced me I wasn't taking enough. That's the funny thing. Like, I've never really took a whole lot until this past year. Like, people don't believe me. I think the biggest off-season cycle I'd done up until, I didn't really do an off-season cycle this year. I just cruised all the way up through, I don't know, last year was like 1.3 grand, like 750 tests and 600 of whatever anabolic I run. That was pretty much what I ran in the off-season. The test, I started off my prep cycle at 1750. That was too much. I was having like the test flu. So I had to back it down. I'm back down to about 1 gram now. Yeah, I'll get your super chat in just a second. I'm trying to get through this. Let me see here. I'm not ignoring you. All right, so let me take here. Captain Flint, let's see, 1920 calories on low days, 2200 on medium days, 50 minutes of cardio, 5 times. Wow, that's a lot of cardio. 205 pounds, barely eking out 2 pounds a week. Don't know where to go from here. I mean, 2 pounds a week is about the max you can ask for, man. I mean, you do the math on that, that is 7,000 calories of fat metabolized in a week. So that's 1,000 calories burned per day. And when I'm working with my clients that are on fat loss or contest prep, I tell them that 2 pounds is the max to hope for. Once you get beyond 2 pounds, you can push it beyond that. But I would say if you're beyond 2 pounds of fat loss per week, you're getting into really dangerous territory of losing muscle. That's just been my experience. And if you extrapolate that over a 16 or 15-week cut, you're talking about losing 30 pounds of fat. That is a significant amount of fat. I aim for 1 to 2 pounds per week with my clients. And I think that's realistic. And somewhere around 15 to 16, or 12, should say 16 weeks, somewhere around 16 weeks is the max that you can diet before diet fatigue starts to set in and your metabolism just gets so low. And then you need to take a diet break. Usually I'll do like a 3 or 4 week diet break and push if we need to lose more fat, and then I'll push the carbs back up as high as I can get away with without gaining a bunch of weight. I'll have people fill back out a little bit, get their metabolisms rev back up, and then we'll go back after it after about 4 weeks. And you'll find that you can go, I'll cut the cardio back too on the diet break. But as far as cardio goes, the maximum that you can go with cardio, the maximum that I push people anyway, everybody's got a different take on it. You can look at studies. It's not like it's just shuts off, but somewhere around the 40 to 45 minute range, you start going from burning fat, the fat burning declines, and then you start going into gluconeogenesis and breaking down tissue. It starts to become too catabolic. So I usually max out around 40 minutes per session. If you need more than that, then I'll put in multiple sessions or just do small walks during the day to increase NEAT. There's always fat burners and stuff that you can use as well. So anyway, that's a long-winded answer, man. So that's about the max you can do, dude. Sorry if I missed this, but for GH, lower dose than the off season, are you just judging your look or size? I just go by how I feel, man. I mean, GH, you talk to behind the scenes like pros, like what they tell you is as much as you can afford and tolerate. That's sort of the rule. I know that's not the, I would say, PC answer, but that's the truth of it. Let's see here. All right, so my current macros, Justin cut my food back a bit this week. I'm still not hungry. I get a little hungry before my meal. It's like not like to the point where I'm eating pickles out of the jar, drinking pickle juice and shit like you do at the end of prep. Anybody who's been at the end of prep knows what I'm talking about. I'm licking the salt off of the salt container and things when you get to that state. But right now, my medium days are 3,200 calories. Now, keep in mind, we're not counting direct macros. Justin Harris, my coach, does not count direct macros. So my actual calories are probably more like 3,600. We're not counting the trace fats and the proteins. We are not counting trace proteins and the carbs. We're not, counting trace carbs and some of the added fats, which from the nuts and stuff. So the calories are actually a little bit higher. It's not significant. It's just those numbers are so insignificant. It's not even worth it's not even worth counting. So right now, medium days are 370 grams of protein, 350 grams of carbs, 37 grams of added fats. High day, I do 5 medium days, or no, sorry, 5 medium days per week. Sorry, I train 6 days a week. One training day per week is a high day. Protein on that day is 330. Carbs are 940. And I have a cheat meal at the end of the day. I'm just estimating. I would say my carbs are around probably closer to 1,000. So the total calories on that day is 5,700, probably more like 6,000. It's basically the cheat meal is just an unmeasured meal. Justin says to keep it to 1,500 calories or so. But I mean, it's not like Five Guys is weighing your hamburger on a scale. So I don't know how you determine that. So I'm probably somewhere between the 6,000 and 6,500 calorie mark on my high days, and half the carbs on the high days can come from sugary sources, low fat sugary sources, preferably fat free. So meals 1 through 5, I am running insulin with those every other meal. Last meal of the day, no insulin, which is a higher fat cheat meal. I try to run a cleanish cheat meal. I wouldn't say clean, but I'm staying away from crap like pizza and ice cream. It's not an excuse to go to Dunkin' Donuts and buy out the store and eat 2 dozen donuts. That's not going to be productive. I try to eat good whole foods that just may have a little more fat in it. So like, things, traditional shit, like you'll see sushi. I don't know. I'm not one of these guys that goes and gets sushi every week like every other bodybuilder. I usually just end up getting a steak and a potato and a salad, eat a couple rolls. I like going to Texas Roadhouse. It's one of my favorites. Or go to IHOP or a breakfast place and have some eggs and pancakes. Or another one of the things I like to do is just a burger and fries. So those are typically what my cheat meals look like. Low day, which is 1 day per week, which was yesterday. I'm usually hungry after the low day, is 360 grams of protein, 250 grams of carbs, and 72 grams of added fats. So lower carbs, higher fats. There's no workout that day, so you don't need as many fats. Captain Flint says, thanks, Paul. I hope your carb cycling hopping on your carb cycling approach has been a major game changer for me. I'll never go back. Yeah, I wish I could claim credit for it, but it's, I will tell you that most of the top pro bodybuilders are using some sort of calorie cycling or carb cycling, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But it works well for bodybuilding. It might not be the smartest approach for just general fitness or longevity, but for bodybuilding, it's very, 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 very great. See, Max, I've been working with a coach for 8 months now. So far, it's been good with him, but he's getting me on T3 and cleanse 16 weeks out. Should I be concerned? I mean, everybody's got a different approach. That wouldn't be my approach. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. I don't know. It's also, how fat are you? Are you super fat? So that may be the issue too. With a fasted glucose of 95, why not at least basal lactis? Because Lantus is not really going to make much of a difference there. And that's just kind of where my fasted glucose hangs out, and insulin blunts fat burning to a certain degree, and more exposure to insulin raises insulin resistance. I don't know. I just like 90. I don't. There's this obsession, and I've heard other coaches talk about it, like trying to get people's fasting glucose down to 80 and stuff. Like that's abnormal. I mean, like anything below 100 is considered normal. I mean, even up to 120 is not crazy. I don't know who came up with the idea that you have to be down around 80. And I do run Lantus in the off season, but I have to. I get to a point in prep where my glucose will come down during the day, and I actually go hypo during the day if I run insulin. So I got to be really, really, really careful with that. Let's see. Here's another super chat. I can get it to show. Any downside of eating high carbs constantly if I can get the insulin sensitivity high with supplements? Granted, I don't eat 900 grams. I mean, it's relative. That's sort of the thought process with the carb cycling, is that you're taking breaks from the high carbs and insulin with the low days. I have even started to, and I was talking to Roman Fritz about this today, which is interesting that he's been doing this. I didn't realize it, but some of my clients and even myself, sometimes in the off season, I've been implementing a little bit of fasting here and there just to get reset insulin sensitivity. Fasting is not the best thing for bodybuilding. I mean, you're going to be catabolic when you're fasting, so you have to measure out the benefit versus risk of that. But I will, once in a while, instead of a low day, I'll do a 24-hour fast. And I have IBS. It also helps with me with resetting my my gut, let my GI have a break. Let's see here. I'm not going to talk about sources. Somebody's asking me a source question. If you don't know where to find real stuff, you're in the wrong place. Okay. Current PEDs. This is the fun stuff. I lowered my testosterone dose this past week, and as I get deeper into prep, usually somewhere around 10 weeks out, I start changing things. Sort of 16 weeks to 10 weeks is a continuation of what your off-season PED load would be. I didn't have an off-season PED load, so I really kind of started 20 weeks out and then titrated up into the contest prep load, just over that 4-week period of time. And as I mentioned before, I got up to 1750 tests a week, which was 250 per day. I have backed that down. As I get deeper into the prep, I will back down the testosterone and up the DHT derivatives. People always ask me why both Primo and Masteron. The only answer I have for you is Primo's expensive. So I find that, it's probably all in my head. I find that Primo keeps me a bit fuller. Gives me a little more pop than Masteron does. Masteron sort of drives me out too much. But also like the sex drive and other benefits from Masteron. So you just sort of feel good on it. So I have both in there, but right now I'm running equal amounts of each, and that testosterone may come down as we get closer to the end of prep. I think last year I got as low as 375 milligrams. The issue I run into, is that when I get my test too low, I lose fullness and pop. So I have to kind of walk the line with that. So just, just something to keep in mind. I'm running half a milligram of anastrozole every other day. I am a high estrogen converter, so I have to manage that. And I typically bury my estrogen as I get deeper into prep. That's the only way I can get really, really dry. Peptides, I am at HGH is at 9 units a day. It was 15 of generic. The reason I did that because I switched to pharma. And those of you that know what 9 units of pharma means. Human log. Oh, I do run insulin on my high day for now, and like I mentioned before, that probably will get dropped out. We're trying to force glycogen um, synthesis on the high day, so it will aid with that. But it'll be come to a point where I won't need that. And then I'm running only fat burners I'm running right now is an ECA stack that is ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin. That's it. Nothing else. It's just all over the counter stuff. Um, Yo Rogan said I ran 3 units of insulin and saw lots of fat loss. Yeah, I mean 3 units isn't doing shit. I mean, it's just a tiny little amount. I mean, your body probably makes 30, 40, 50 units a day. I mean, it's just a drop in the bucket. At that point, see, that's my thing. Like running 3 units is not doing anything. So you see my dog's getting in here. He wants to be a part. He wants to be a part of this. This English Mastiff problems. Oh, he's talking about GH and he's not talking about insulin. Yeah, I mean, yep. I mean, that's fine. Sorry, I misunderstood. Let's see here. So I completely whiffed that question. Sorry about that. All right, let me remove that. But the ETA stack's fine for now. I'll add, I don't know when we're adding Clen, probably 8 weeks out. I don't need a ton of fat burners. I just lose fat really easily. I feel bad for my clients. Yeah, yo, Rogan, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, sure, you're gonna. I mean, 3 units is gonna help. It definitely will help. Yeah, my bad on that, dude. I got completely off track there. What's up, Fernando from Chi-Town? Let's see. I've had those panic attacks, Joseph says, with the CPAP. I hacked my auto CPAP, pushing the setting to 12 and 15 did the trick. Yeah, so here, dude, I tried that. I pushed it up. I think maybe I pushed it up too high, and I was filling my stomach up with air, and I was waking up with I was just burping and farting nonstop. I think I filled my gut up with air, so I got to find the happy medium. Uh, let's see. Somebody's asking me if I'm still running. Yeah, well, I'm still running the RP training, Brian. I'll get into that in just a second. What else we got here? I'm assuming you mean GH, Emperor Sheep. Have you noticed any skin benefits from the G8? Yeah, I definitely noticed skin benefits. My skin has tightened up. I don't, maybe I'm delusional, but like most people that see me in person are shocked when I tell them I'm 50 years old. They don't believe me. I'm not saying I look pristine, but it's my man Kevin Frizzard, the ripped shredder. He's shredded in real life, and he shreds on the guitar. What's up, Kevin? Oh, did I miss a super chat? Oh yeah, sorry about that, bro. Rice and Chicken Warrior, how many units of GH did you get to where you really noticed the fat loss? Even on low doses, I think it benefits you. I I I think I started off with 2 units when I first got back into this. I definitely saw some benefit from 2 units. I don't think you need as much for fat loss. But there is some magic with GH. I'll tell you, when I got up around 9 or 10 units more, I saw my body just transform. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but there was definitely some magic that happened. Physical phenomenon at 50. I know it's what always makes me laugh when I get these guys that critique me and give me crap about what I should and shouldn't be doing. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not trying to sound arrogant or full of myself, but how many 50-year-olds are there on the planet out of 8 billion people that look like me? I can't imagine there are a whole lot. Now granted, I've done some crazy shit to get here, but still, I don't know. I just don't think there's that many people that can say they've done the same thing. If they are, I'd like to see them. Okay. What was Cadillac Smith said here? EQ seems some pros love it. Kurt talked about it. The collagen synthesis being better than DECA. Yeah, that is true about the collagen synthesis. I like EQ, but my issue that I've had, and yeah, you're right. A lot of pros do run EQ as their primary anabolic. I'll say this: most pro cycles that you see are going to be a testosterone base. Usually, run as high as they can tolerate. They pick their favorite anabolic. I would say that most younger pros that I see are running equipoise as their secondary anabolic primarily. The older guys that have been around for a while tend to shift to primobolan. I don't know. Masteron's just started being used here recently. It's just really weird to me. I don't find Masteron to be that great for size. I think it's kind of a poo-poo drug for size, if you ask me. I think the only thing that really allows you to do is to crank your testosterone up really high. But most dudes you see, younger guys that are EQ's cheap, they'll push the EQ up high and throw GH insulin in there, and then sometimes they'll run a third thing like some orals at the end of a cycle, or throw a little MPP or something in there. But for the most part, it's just test EQ and GH. I mean, that's the base of most pro cycles. There's the kidney toxicity. Bruce says there's a kidney toxicity issue that worries me. That there's only, as far as I know, there's only that one study that was done that showed the kidney toxicity, and it was done like 50 years ago on like 4 rabbits. And that's the one my friend, the world's leading safer use PED educator, my number one fan in the fan club, likes to talk about all the time. But I don't know how much you can draw from that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. I I I'm I don't know. But for me, the issue that I run into with EQ, and the reason why I don't run it anymore, and this may contribute to the kidney issues, is it just cranks my hemoglobin and hematocrit through the roof, and my blood pressure goes through the roof on it. So I don't run it anymore. Primabol, my body likes primobolan better. I try to stick with safer compounds that I can run at higher doses and tolerate really well. So for me, that tends to be test imprimable. And I'm not saying that's the right answer for everybody, but that's what I found out that my body tolerates well. I generally stay away from orals, except for the end of contest prep, and occasionally an off season if I just need a little extra kick in the pants. But what I do now is a lot different than what I would do at 24 years old. When I was 24, I was also hammering a bottle of Jägermeister and thinking that was cool, and I would be in the emergency room if I tried that now. So things are yeah, I mean, Jay-Z, that's what I suspect, that it may wreck your kidneys because it thickens your blood up so much. That's kind of what I speculate. And when your blood pressure seems to be what shreds kidneys. There are some things that are directly kidney toxic. Yeah, Emperor Sheet says the kidney toxicity thing's been sort of just proven many times. Yeah, I think there was Alex Matrasky, who's done biopsies on kidneys, has said that the only gear that affected his kidneys biopsy was trend. That's what I would say. I will tell you this, just anecdotally speaking, the people that I have seen with wrecked kidneys are the dudes that blast high doses of tren year round. And there's, as far as I know, there are no studies that show that tren is directly kidney toxic. But I have seen tons of bros come around with blood work who were running high doses. I know some men's physique guys, little dudes, they're not my size, that melt their kidneys by the time they're 40 years old from running tren year round. So these dudes that you hear talking about running tren year round, I don't know, man. Doesn't seem smart, like a smart approach um to me. Let's see. Another Taiwan asked, how long and what temperature do you bake? You mean my medium rare flavorless chicken? I cut it up into chunks. I bake it for 350 for 25 minutes. It is just a tad pink. I've checked the temperatures. It comes out right at 155 or so, 160, which is good enough to kill the bacteria. But people freak out. I don't know if you want if you want to take your chicken cooking advice from me. I'm probably the worst person. I'm chef's worst nightmare. Um, the world famous medium rare chicken. Uh, Flavorless Taiwan. It's the world's famous flavorless medium rare chicken. Let's get it correct. Um, is the name of your chicken seasoning placebo? My flavorless cooking. So here's why. I would love to add some flavor to stuff, guys, but I have really bad IBS, and it's like it's so bad that I if I use garlic like more than once a day, I am in trouble. I am in trouble. Kevin's got a question. When you taper down post show, how long until you go back into an off season protocol? As long as your contest prep duration was, there's a specific time period. It's a good question. I do a rebound post show. Usually what I will do is cut all the orals out immediately. I'll cut the trin out immediately. I keep test in place. I'll keep an anabolic in place, probably Masteron or Primo. I'll probably keep Primo in place. And I'll run a milder cycle. So something like 5 for me, like with, I'm running 3 grams right now. I'll run something like 500 tests, or maybe 750 tests, 600 Primo for like 6-8 weeks and do a rebound. I taper down the fat burners over a 2-3 week period of time. And I'll try to get my weight back up close to my off-season weight, but be leaner. And then I'll shift to a cruise after about 8 weeks post-show. And then I'll do a cruise. And the cruise just depends. I mean, probably minimum length would be like 6-8 weeks. This year, I didn't even do a rebound phase. I just kind of went straight into a cruise after my show. I cruised for about 4 months. Trying some of the Kinder seasoning. I do use the Kinder seasoning once in a while. I like the Kinder seasoning, but I can only get away with it like once a day. Cuckolding. Please have Dr. Todd unblock me. I have no control over Dr. Todd. He is his own man. And trust me, Todd is very strong-willed. Todd is gonna do what Todd's gonna do. So I can't help you there, my friend. All right, health supplements. I'll run through these real quick. I gotta wrap up soon. I got some check-ins to do. Glucose management. I use berberine on high days, suppressor max from first detachment. General health, whole food vitamin 2 times per day. Actually, I'm not even using a whole food vitamin anymore. I can't really find one I like. I'm just using the Centrum Complete. 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Everybody tells me that's not enough. I don't know. I eat oranges and drink orange juice too, so whatever. I haven't died yet. 5,000 units of vitamin D. Cardiovascular health stack. 3,000 milligrams of fish oil per day. 2,000 milligrams of flax oil for my EFAs. For cardiovascular and cellular health and yada yada. I use the Cunol Co10 100 milligrams. I think it's a ubiquinol. I don't know. Somebody said that dosing was wrong. Maybe it is. And 1,200 milligrams of citrus bergamot for lipid metabolism. 1,200 milligrams of red rice yeast extract for liver metabolism. Liver, I run milk thistle and tucca. NAC only as needed. Right now, it's not needed. Astragalus for kidney health. I use the renal reset from First Detachment. If you want to pick it up from First Detachment, you can head over to their website. I have a discount code AB10. Same thing with the suppressor max. For digestion, I use oxbio on the high days. Digestive enzymes on the high days. I use psyllium husk fiber nightly. I don't have a lot of fiber in my diet because I eat easy to digest foods. I have to be careful with fiber because having IBS, adding fiber in sometimes can be a fucking nightmare and actually make things worse. So I know that you need fiber, but I have to be careful with it. There are times where I have to take off from the fiber. Let's see here. RX meds, telomesartan 40 milligrams a day for blood pressure. I usually end up having to drop that at the end of prep because my blood pressure sometimes gets too Let's see here. Training right now. This is something I remind people of all the time. Your goal on prep. Keep this in mind. You're not gonna. Most people aren't going to grow on prep. I know people said I was growing on prep. I really wasn't growing on prep. It's just response to the drugs after being off for a period of time, or bodybuilder off, which is TRT plus, and going back on higher doses. Right, that's leveled out now. I'm not growing or getting bigger right now after I fill back out. But your goal on prep is to not lose muscle. Don't get hurt. So don't train so stupid that you're going to get yourself hurt. And to lose fat. Really, that's it. Get lean, get fat free. Don't get yourself hurt. Hang on to all the muscle you have. Make sure you're fresh and ready for show. I try to make sure I have plenty of gas in the tank to practice posing. I do posing every night after workout. Right now, I have it down here. I'm doing 6 posing sessions a week, 3 rounds of total posing. I can't tell you how many times I see dudes get on stage, even at national shows, that are fucking gassed out after 1 round of posing, sweating like they did 2 hours of cardio. I'm like, how can you have done all this cardio on prep and be gassed out? It's on doing 1 round of posing. That tells me that they did not practice posing. And very, 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 very few people do that. Here's somebody. I'll pull this up. That study said 36 New Zealand rabbits were the test on that EQ test. These rabbits are also known to naturally have kidney disease, if I remember correctly. I also remembered from wasn't it from the study too, that they all fully recovered after discontinuing it, that there was, I don't know. It's a very flawed study. It's an old study. I don't know how much I would read into it. I mean, a lot of times the only thing we have to go on is anecdote for everything we do. We know that everything we do has risk and danger to it, right? And there's varying degree of risk and danger to the stuff that we do for bodybuilding. And I am always wary of so-called gurus and experts that speak in absolutes about this shit, because a lot of times we just don't know. We have ideas, but we don't know for sure. And then everybody's unique. So I would say, I would say just be wary of gurus that act like they know everything and speak in absolutes, because most of those people are just full of freaking crap, and they're trying to sell views and make themselves seem like they're smarter than what they are. That's I don't know. I try to take a common sense approach to everything and acknowledge that I don't know everything, and neither do you, jackass, who didn't even study. I love when people who went to, were building houses before, think they know more than a biochemist. It just cracks me up. Um, I did the SIBO test and it came back negative. So yeah, somebody was asking me. So that wasn't the issue. I don't know. It's just every time I've done a SIBO for H. pylori, however you say it, I've come back negative. So I don't know. Racing Chicken Warrior. I want to meet Todd and all the bros. I think Todd's coming to the Olympia. I'll be at the Olympia. Steve will be at the Olympia. Chase. There's a bunch of us that'll be at the Olympia. So if you're there, say hi. Todd's funny in person. He's very quiet, soft spoken. Just he's a sweetheart in person. He comes off as gruff when you see him on here, but he's not what you expect when you meet him in person. He's very quiet and sort of shy and sweet. It's funny. He's funny. Bruce, that's exactly what I've seen. All those dudes bring up the old studies for BS they're trying to bring. I mean, I like looking at that stuff. I mean, I sit around. I'm a nerd, man. I sit around and get on PubMed at night and look at PubMed. But I don't know. I remember Dante Trudell, who was my original mentor in bodybuilding, and was Dante right about everything? No, but Dante has been right about a lot of stuff, and a lot of things he said have come back around. The thing I always appreciated about Dante is he had a very practical approach to things. And I remember him saying, you want to know what the biggest study on performance enhancing drugs, training, and nutrition is for size of old time as the thousands of people that turn themselves pro. Now, sometimes there are dudes that are just genetic mutants and they can do whatever and get big. But I mean, just if you want to know what works, I mean, all these guys do pretty much the same damn things. And you can look at the health outcomes. The dudes that end up having serious health problems are the ones that abuse the most toxic stuff and abuse it profusely, or they just lost the genetic lottery. Like, I mean, it's just like, I mean, we all know that guy that died of a fucking heart attack when he was 28 years old. A guy I used to play basketball with, he was great shape, fell over a heart attack, 28, 29 years old. And sometimes it's just shit luck. And then there's that dude that drinks and smokes his whole life and lives to be 90. So some of it's just luck, tolerance for the stuff. Now, there are varying degrees of risk. You don't want to be stupid, but I mean, for the most part, you look at the guys that have died and died early. They ran all sorts of toxic stuff. They never took breaks. They never monitored their health, and they were reckless with things. There's calculated risk, and then there's reckless risk. I mean, it's like the way I like to compare it to motorcycle racing. I used to ride motorcycles, and getting on a track and going 200 miles an hour and competing in a race is controlled risk. You have safety gear. You have people there. There are no cars. You're wearing a tracksuit. It's still risky. You still could die, but it's calculated risk. It's you have risk mitigation. It's intelligent risk, I would say. Whereas there's unintelligent risk, which would be riding your motorcycle 160 miles an hour through rush hour traffic, passing between cars and doing stuff. You're going to die. There's a way higher chance you're going to die doing that, even though you're cranking it out at the same speed. The same thing is true with bodybuilding. If you have no goal in front of you and you're just recklessly experimenting with stuff and making yourself a human guinea pig and taking all sorts of experimental stuff and getting doing all sorts of crazy shit, you're increasing the odds that you're going to die significantly. Anyway, that's the only thing we have to go on. A lot of it's just anecdote. Everybody that says they know everything. Yeah, the tribe leader gorilla. Yeah, it always makes me laugh. You never see any pictures of him actually in shape, or anybody that he's got in shape, but he knows everything. It always makes me laugh. How soon before the show will you pull your GH? I usually pull just a couple days out. I pull all the injectables about a week out. Anyway, back to my training. I am doing a modified style, RP style training. It's sort of a PPL, but I only do chest and shoulders once a week. The reason why I do it that way is because my shoulders all beat up and I just can't handle more than that. And I train back twice a week because I've been trying to bring it up. My legs are split up into a quad focus workout, and then I have an adductor and glute focus workout and hamstring. I'm training like a bikini girl now. I have my bikini girl leg day, and then I have my bodybuilder leg day. That's why I brought my glutes up. Training like a wellness competitor. And maybe I'll enter the wellness division. See, yeah, the know-it-alls are like apprentices telling journeymen what to do. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm always wary of blowhards. Usually the ones that speak the loudest and have the most to say have the least amount of substance. I'm a believer in letting my actions speak louder than my words. Like you can look at my results. You look at the results I've gotten with me and my clients, and I think those speak louder than anything I have to say. And I'm not saying I know everything. Lord knows I don't. I've made plenty of mistakes. I look back at crap I posted on the message boards 20 years ago. And I think, oh my God. I like always was like tempted to go back and delete some of the stuff. It was so embarrassing, but I'm like, I should just leave it there. Just shows personal growth. And part of being an adult is admitting that you were wrong and growing and learning. Milo's, my dog, is getting back in here. again, my big head English Mastiff. They are too big to sit in your lap, but they'll put their face in your lap. This is my big baby. All right, dude. Come on, let's back off. All right, what's left? I think we're almost about wrapped up here. Plans and thoughts. Diet adherence is perfect this week. Coach's feedback. Things are moving along perfectly. Really nothing to change. Planning on 2 shows, a primary and backup show. So Masters Nationals July 18th. If things don't go according to plan there, then I'll do North Americans at the end of August. That's my plan. And folks, that's really all I have. Any last questions before I sign off? Let's see. Brent says, I bet your ETU wasn't LMs. Yes, so it wasn't accurate. I'm not sure if he's talking to me. I wasn't talking about my estrogen. Any last minute questions here? I didn't miss anything, did I? Let me make sure. Yeah, I got all the super chats, so I think we're good there. All right. Is low dose trend really worth it? I mean, that's what I've done. I mean, I don't know. Is it worth it? Is a relative question. I think it helps with body composition. I do enough to get the body composition effect out of it without having the nasty side effects. But I thought about I mean, you got to think trend is super fucking potent. So, I mean, the guys back in the 90s when they were doing Parabol and they were running, most of the guys you talk to, they would do 2 amps a week. I don't remember what those things were, like 76.5 milligrams. They were something weird like that. So they were only running 150 milligrams of Trent a week back in the 90s. It seemed to work for those guys like Dorian and those guys. Where's the merch? Dude, I've got thousands of dollars of t-shirts sitting in Blue Collar Bodybuilding's garage that I need to sell at some point. I just have been so busy with things. At some point I'll get some merch up. I've got to do that. I know I'm just, this shows you how concerned I'm making money. I'm literally not making money because I'm too lazy to do things. So at some point I'll get that up. All right, folks. I appreciate you. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for all your support. I know I complain about the haters a lot, but really it's just a small percentage of the audience. You guys are great. The people have been wonderful to me. It means a lot, all the support. I thank each and every one of you. Rock on. Have a good